Several years ago, someone impacted my life in a really significant way for the kingdom of heaven. This was someone who loved Jesus, who had an outgoing testimony for him, who had been walking with him for years, who had sacrificed things for the kingdom of heaven, and who took an interest in me and cared for me at a point in my life when I was really wrestling with some things. You can imagine my surprise and how discouraging it was for me when I found out several years later that this person no longer identified as a Christian. They had come to the place where they said they didn't believe in Jesus anymore and they didn't even believe in God anymore. When I started looking into his story, I realized that he wasn't the only one. That there are literally thousands of people out there who have once identified as Christians, went to church, profess belief in Jesus, and now say, not for me. I don't believe in this stuff anymore. They have deconverted. And you might be surprised to learn that the church or their parents played a significant role, unwittingly, but a significant role in that process. Stick around and we'll find out how. Why do people lose their faith? It's because they've come to the place where they no longer believe that Christianity is true. They just can't maintain that belief anymore. Why they have come to that, though, differs for every person. But mostly, it will come down to one of two major categories. One is intellectual reasons. For example, they no longer find the Bible credible. They think that there are contradictions in it, or perhaps that it stands opposed to some scientific beliefs that they hold. Maybe they don't believe that there can be so much evil in the world and a good God, or they've come across arguments for the non-existence of God that they find persuasive. Another pathway to losing faith, though, is emotional reasons. Maybe being hurt by a pastor or being hurt by a parent. Maybe being let down or having your expectations unmet by people in the church who you find to be hypocritical or maybe judgmental. And then there's being disappointed by God. When God doesn't come through and God doesn't give to us or meet our expectations for what we think that he should be doing, then we can feel disillusioned and hurt and start to wonder if what we really believe is true. And then some of those niggling questions in the back of our mind start to gain force, like, but what about the Trinity? Can there really be one being in three persons? Does that really make sense? When emotional hurts happen, it opens up the doorway for intellectual troubles to kind of bubble up and gain attention. But regardless whether it's intellectual or emotional, there's never just one cause for someone losing their faith. It would be foolish to try and identify just one cause, because in reality, it's a combination of factors and conditions that come together in the life of a person that bring about their loss of faith. I like to call that a recipe. When we think of recipes, we think of instructions that if we follow correctly will give us the outcome that we're looking for. And recipes have three different aspects to them. One is the ingredients. Two is the preparation of those ingredients, how we're supposed to prepare them. And three is the environment in which they're supposed to be cooked. The ingredients, when it comes to the loss of faith, are the individual characteristics, personality traits, and values of individual people. There are actual predictors of people who will lose their faith based on the character traits that they possess. The preparation is how we go about handing off our faith, or how we take those ingredients, those individuals who are either in our homes or in our churches, and how we socialize them into the Christian faith. How do we go about working with those ingredients in order to produce a disciple of Jesus Christ? And the third element of recipes are the cooking environments that the ingredients are placed into once they've been prepared. Our environment is a sort of a post-Christian, increasingly secular environment where holding on to faith is much more difficult than it used to be. identifying as a Christian or a follower of Jesus, or even someone who believes in God, that he created the world, can become increasingly difficult and uncomfortable for people in our present culture. So when you take a person who has a certain set of traits, psychological, personality, and values, and you poorly prepare them, you prepare them in ways that, instead of contributing to their flourishing of their faith, actually inhibit and place roadblocks in front of their faith. And then you send those same individuals out into a world where maintaining faith is already a difficult challenge. You have a recipe for disaster. And so we're going to be talking about, in the next several episodes, what are those ingredients? What are the ingredients that individuals who are more likely to lose their faith possess? What are those character traits? What are those values that they have? Because if we can identify those, then we can identify ways that we can go about assisting and helping them maintain faith. Because the two things we have no control over in the recipe are the ingredients, the kind of people that we're working with, or the environment, the culture that we live in. The one thing that parents and churches have within their control is how they prepare individuals. In other words, how they socialize, disciple them, and pass on the faith. Because that may be the crucial linchpin in preventing deconversion. In our next episode, we'll take a look at the ingredients for a recipe for disaster.